Yes, sir.
Welcome, Naha fans. You are watching the North American Hockey Authority here in Southern California. I'm joined in studio with Ed Heathouse, our off-ice official for the Coachella Valley Firebirds AHL affiliate of the Seattle Kraken. Down below, we got Charles McPike III, of course, engineering our show and credentialed for the Firebirds. And tonight, Charles, you're going to be there. You're going to be at the game watching. What an incredible night that's going to be. Are you excited?
Very excited. It's second home game in like over a month. We had that huge away stand, and happy the boys are back in the desert.
And they're on top in both conference and division. So very exciting. Looking forward to your photos. Of course, we had a great time at B&P. I digress a bit. Guys, this is the North American Hockey Authority, and we talk about hockey here, trying to elevate our collective hockey IQ. And, we always start off with a great session, a little bit about history. Ed always digs up something for us and comes up with something special. Maybe that's because he's older than us, so he has a little more information. I don't know. Just joking. How's it going, Ed?
I deflected that shot. It's fine.
Bam.
Go
Hey, happy spring. You told me that it was spring today. I can't believe it. We've already made it to spring. And our 20th show on March 20th. Welcome, fans. We're so excited that you're here. Hey, here's the way it works a little bit. We kind of do segment by segment. We're going to start off with History Matters. Of course, join in. Give us your comments. Share if you like. And any questions that you might have watching live or in the future, we're all over it, and we're going to be back at you. So welcome. Sit back and enjoy. Naha. History Matters.
Oh, I was sitting back to enjoy. I'm sorry.
You're up, brother.
I loved it. And welcome aboard, Charlie. We loved and missed you this morning, but it's all good.
Happy to even if we start the show late, start the show. Show goes on.
Yeehaw, baby.
Yeehaw.
History does matter, and yes, this is our 20th episode on March 20th. First day of spring. Happy first day of spring, North America. Just to make you a little jealous, we're going to hit 82 here in Palm Desert.
Yesterday was so amazing.
I mean, it's rain, it's sun, it's this, it's that.
I tried it up outside so I could give you the view of our local mountains. So beautiful today. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get the light balance right, so I headed back into the studio. And we always start with history, as you so succinctly pointed out, Craig. And today's history lesson is about the only two goaltenders who are brothers who have played against each other in the NHL. The only two in 100-plus year history. And it's Ken Dryden from the Montreal Canadiens and his older brother, Dave, who is actually 6 years older than Ken. And this week in 1972, two brothers faced each other in opposing nets for the first time ever.
Wow. Now, have you ever had brothers that have been on the same team?
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, currently the New Jersey Devils feature Jack Hughes and his brother, both former Wolverines, by the way. And their other brother plays for, I can't remember the team now, but there are three brothers in the NHL, and two are playing for one team, one plays for another. But to have goaltending brothers face each other, it's only happened one time. Well, it happened between these two. They ended up playing 6 games total. But in 1972, when they were about to face each other for the first time, the game was supposed to happen at the Montreal Forum because Ken was obviously a part of the Montreal Canadiens. Older brother Dave was with Buffalo. Buffalo was visiting. And the two coaches got together, and Punch Imlach from Buffalo was like, oh my God, this is going to be great. And Al McNeil from Montreal said, we're in a playoff push right now. I don't need the sideshow. Starting Rogie Vachon, I'm not even starting Ken Dryden. And Punch went, WTF? Really, dude? We can make history here. And McNeil said, nah, Not interested.
Not interested at all.
So who won the game?
Well, so Punch started Dave Dryden anyway, and Al McNeil started Rogie Vachon because he played in Montreal before he came to Los Angeles to play for the Kings. And midway through the second period, Rogie took a shot. How do I put this? Right in the twig and berries. And he get up and he didn't recover.
Oh,
So
I don't mean to be laughing.
Is this like
Painful to hear.
Yeah, like didn't you guys use like 2x4s? Just stick them down your pants just to.
Yeah, wasn't there something down there?
The technology improved a lot over time, but I will admit, during my high school days, I wore the same standard little plastic cup that you wore for football or basketball. And it would be so cold on outdoor games, it would break in half if it. So it was replaced later on by stainless steel.
Doesn't sound very protective. I don't know.
Protective. The problem with that is you hear it hit before you feel it hit. So you know it's coming. You know that who is coming.
Oh yeah, the sick feeling in the pit of your stomach, the nausea, the yeah. Oh.
So Rogie takes one in the twig and berry, and he goes out of the game. Al McNeil is forced to put Ken Dryden his backup in. So immediately Punch Imlach puts in Dave Dryden, brother, and for the first time ever, opposing goaltenders who were brothers stared each other down.
So it wasn't the whole game. It was like 2 periods worth?
Right. Period. Okay. Half the game. To answer your question, Craig, Montreal won the game 5-2 with an empty net goal.
Ooh.
And Ken Dryden hated playing against his older brother because he just felt bad sitting back there hoping that his team would score on the guy that was his idol while he was growing up. Because with 6 years in between them, they didn't grow up rivals. They grew up with Ken idolizing his older brother Dave. And just to add a little more into that, I started looking at Ken Dryden's career because he was my hero growing up. He only played 8 seasons in the NHL. 8. He retired at the peak of his career because the NHL was boring to him.
Where do you get more action?
In his 8-year career, he won 6 Stanley Cups.
Whoa.
6 cups.
And that was boring.
In 8 years. Yeah, it was,
that sounds like a complicated man after 6 Stanley Cups to be bored.
I mean, I pose this question again, like what does a person like that do to get more action?
He became heavily involved in politics and became a prime minister, not a prime minister, but very influential. He studied law at Cornell, and he actually delayed his entry into the NHL so he could get through Cornell and play Ivy League hockey.
This is like John Hayden on the Firebirds, Mr. Ivy Leaguer.
Yeah. So
he's super intelligent. His mind's always going, and needed something new and fresh.
So here's Ken's career record in 8 years: 258 wins, 57 losses, 258 to 57 losses, and back then there wasn't a shootout. He had 74 ties.
Wow!
But the most amazing thing, first off, that he won 200 games more than he lost. But he only lost 57 games, and he had 46 shutouts.
And you said he was 8 years in the NHL? That's obscene.
Unbelievable.
So the game in 1972, when the game ended, he felt really bad. His older brother and his idol, was on the losing side. And he was trying to escape off the ice, but his older brother was waiting for him at center ice to shake his hand. And I have a picture of that.
I will put that up right now.
There it is. The two of them met at center ice. Dave is on the right-hand side with the Buffalo Sabres jersey wearing number 30.
Yeah.
And Ken is on the left side in the Canadiens home jersey back when we wore whites and it was correct. And he's wearing number 29.
That's interesting.
Now, just to give you an idea of how much of an influence Ken Dryden had on me, Charlie, can you throw up picture number 2?
Certainly.
That's a 17-year-old Ed Heathouse in his junior year of hockey.
At Parkside Eagles.
With the Parkside Eagles wearing the fabled number 29.
I see that now.
That man was my hero, and
Wow.
And for good reason. And I had no idea at that time how stellar his record was. And that was the year he retired, by the way, was taken.
I might be emulating some of those mutton chops that the boys were wearing back then.
All right.
Hey guys, appreciate you watching North American Hockey Authority. Ed Heathouse up in the left-hand corner there, our AHL off-ice official for the Coachella Valley Firebirds. Charles McPike, the engineer down below, and he's also credentialed for the Firebirds, photography, press conferences, everything else. Such an exciting life we have. Let's move on to maybe a rule segment, which is our next segment. Guys, make sure you let us know where you're watching from. And here's a new one for you. Give us who your favorite teams are, AHL or NHL, in the comments, and let us know where you're watching from. So we have a perspective of the 50 or so people that are on today's Canada.com, today's California.com, and Coachella Valley watching, also on Twitter and YouTube, where you're watching from. We'd love to know.
And if you're one of our favorite Canucks that's watching, OHL, Quebec Major Juniors, WHL, whatever your favorite team is, toss it in the comments. I'll have a smart aleck remark. I'll chirp it. We'll have fun. And yes, we do a rules segment every week. I wanted to talk a little bit this week. We have 31 days left in the American Hockey League season, which means the NHL season is running its course in about a month as well. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what happens if two teams are tied in the standings.
Good question.
So, two teams that are tied for, in the division, they're tied in points. And points, of course, are obtained by getting 2 points for a win, 1 point for a tie, an overtime loss, etc. When two teams are tied in points at the end of the season, what the first thing that the league looks at is the games won in regulation time.
Mm.
So the team with the most wins within the 60-minute hockey game is the team that advances. If they're still tied, they go to games won in regulation or overtime without shootouts. And if they're still tied after that, then it's games won in any manner, whether it's regulation, overtime, shootout, or you paid the other team to, not up.
So no goals for. Okay, my bad.
So if they're still tied after all of that, points in a season series between the two teams. So head to head.
Right.
Who got the most points head to head? If that's tied, it's goal differential overall within the entire league, your entire season. What's the goal differential? Which is why goal differential is actually hugely critical, in the standings.
Well, there you go.
If it's still tied after all of that, goals scored during the series between the two teams, whoever scored the most. So it gets really deep in terms of figuring out who replaces who with two teams tied.
So follow-up question, has any situation ever gone to that 10th level of Dante's Inferno?
Not that I'm aware of. And I love the
That would take a lot of off-ice officials to figure out, I think.
You guys combine official rings and become Captain Hockey Planet?
Well, we're the right guys to do it because we are Switzerland. Just saying.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, man.
Hey, well, thank you for that, Rules. And you're right. It's very exciting coming down the last 30 days. All these things matter. You know, it gets intriguing as we get later in the season and all the different things. Like you said, goal differentials, overtime shootouts, all these things do matter when it comes down to it. And could you imagine losing by, say, you know, a shutout or you know, a shootout or something, and that ends up being the entire part of your season and you're not playing? So
Especially if
there you
it's,
go. Just tells you how critical every single second is in these games.
especially if it's for that single bye that the Pacific Division is.
No doubt about
Nobody-
it, my friend. Hey, do you happen to have a beak of the week for us by any chance?
I do. So, we all know Wayne Gretzky's domination during the 80s and 90s, right? And Wayne, we've all seen how the AHL nominates a player of the week.
Yeah.
Have the 3 stars of most nights when there are a lot of games going on. Well, there was a week in 1986 when Hall of Famer Larry Robinson, again of the Montreal Canadiens, and Larry played with Ken Dryden, but that's neither here nor there. 1986, Larry Robinson wins Player of the Week. And the first thing he says at the press conference was, Wayne Gretzky sick?
How many consecutive weeks had Wayne won before that?
Wayne would win Player of the Week like 3 weeks out of every month.
And did we hear from Gretzky? Did the great one respond?
No, not that I know of. There was no social media, tweeting, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok,
In 1986? Are you serious? Oh, man.
Snapchat.
Yeah.
But I just thought, how absolutely funny that a guy would chirp himself.
I love it.
And,
I think it's phenomenal.
and then the
There
other
you go. Ed's Beak of the Week. Hey, guys, we're going to continue moving on. I don't know if we're doing count. I guess maybe it's Firebird talk now. We're going to move into our own team here. The
31
Coachella Valley Firebirds that operate out of Thousand Palms, Palm Desert, California, Acrisure Arena, owned by Oakview Group. Hey, let me tell you a little bit about that arena. $300 or $400 million privately funded. Doesn't usually happen all that often. And that thing was built very quickly. And we're enjoying hockey out here at 82 degrees today inside, 17 degrees down at the floor, at the ice level. We're pretty excited to have Coachella Valley Firebirds here in our town. And of course, we're winning and we're on top. And that always makes everything a little bit more exciting within the stadium, sells out everything. And it's really a lot of fun. So talk to us a little bit about the Firebirds.
So, as you mentioned, Craig, everybody loves a winner. And the Firebirds last year went to Game 7 Calder Cup Finals before falling in overtime. This year, at this point in time, it looks like all roads to the finals lead through Coachella Valley and Hershey again. Hershey's number 1 in the league. I don't even know that anybody has a chance of catching them. They've got lightning in a bottle right now. But the Firebirds not only lead their division, and they've got a bit of a comfortable lead. I don't want to jinx anybody. But they also are in first place in the division, in the conference, the Western Conference. Milwaukee, after reeling off a 19-game winning streak,
Right.
has now lost like 4 out of 5, including tonight.
Now, did they have a mix-up in their, did someone go up or come down, or were there injuries involved, or is that just the way the puck bounces?
In hanging out on their fan page, there are 2 things are happening. One, the Nashville Predators have raided the team for some skaters.
Yeah.
And 2, the injury bug showed up at the absolute worst time of the year, and that's the home stretch of the playoffs.
Yikes.
They got number of guys out, injured. And, the Firebirds went through this early on in the year, with players going up and down, players being hurt. So nobody's immune to the bug, but we are. The Firebirds are 3 points up on Milwaukee, and both teams have 15 games remaining for the last. And Charlie, to your point, I mean, it feels like forever since I've seen you guys, because the Firebirds, they've had one game in the last 10 days.
Yeah.
One game in 10 days. I know they were happy about that because there was a little bit of a flu bug going through the locker room. We already the game that Drieger started and then didn't show up for the second period. Hopefully everybody's healthy, because they have 6 games in the next 11 days.
It's a lot of
Six,
as you see all the different how this works, 10-day break or 3 games at home and 10 games at home, and I believe in February. It is very interesting. I can imagine how many off-ice officials that would take to figure out all those connections. I mean, it's just not that easy. A lot of different teams travel and things, so it's kind of interesting. But I can't imagine 10 days off when you're streaking, or not necessarily streaking, but winning and gelling. It could be a problem.
They are literally the hottest team in the American Hockey League. They have put up points in the standings in 20 of their last 21 games. They've only had one game in the last 21 games where they didn't put at least 1 point in the standings. And that's been the rocket ride to the top for them.
Yeah.
The season ends in 32 days, so we've basically got a month left. Is there a baker's dozen kind of thing? Month left when you add a couple days? Anyway, a baker's month. And we have the Firebirds have 15 games in the next 32 days. So basically, we're looking at a game every other day for the rest in the home stretch.
Hey, just as a reminder for the Firebirds, I know we have a game tonight on the 23rd. That's Military Appreciation. It's going to be a big, big day. There's also puppies starting, I think, 5 o'clock for a puppy adoption out front. That could be a lot of fun.
Oh, my God.
It's going to be a really, really powerful night on the 23rd if you have an opportunity. Don't know if it's sold out, but if not, you should go over to cvfirebirds.com, take a look at some tickets. That's going to be a special, special night. And like I said, it'll be the last time in March that you see the Firebirds, have an opportunity to see them here in their home arena at Acrisure.
Who's working that night? Is it you or Megan?
I think I'm working. I'm going to be working that night. I'm looking forward to it.
I'll be there.
Yes, you will. I'll be taking pictures of you.
I'll be there.
So watch out, man. Every time you're moving, I'm on you. Both Charles and I have an eye in the sky, just paying attention to you.
Oh my gosh.
Just in case Ed, something happens. We got to capture it.
This is totally unscripted. So I talked to Mike, who's the, Mike Zytek, and I asked him about getting shots from the rafters. And he's like, well, I would, but it's not up to me. And it's because of liability, via like OSHA and all that I can't. But he said, if there's a way to ensure that, we could do it. So,
okay, that's great. I've seen some media up there. And so I know that there is a way. Yeah. And I'm sure that we could probably procure some sort of insurance or something like that. I think it'd be a great opportunity. We should definitely explore shooting from the rafters.
Right. So I've been seeing him do this like the last, maybe month and a half. And I'm like, okay, I just have to ask.
I think it's a great idea. We'll reach out to Oakview and see what we can do, because I think that's a great idea, Charles.
That's a great shot, Ed. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it would be. Yep.
Loving it. Hey, guys, you're watching North American Hockey Authority. We're loving all the attention today. Let us know where you're watching from, who your favorite AHL, NHL team is. And are we going to get into your peeve of the week?
Big peeve.
We still have a homestand that we need to talk about.
Oh, oops.
We have the Texas Stars coming in tonight and Saturday.
Yep.
And They sit in 4th place in the Central Division. They're in a dogfight to try to climb up and get home ice advantage during the playoffs. But one of their top 4 defensemen, what's Gavin's last name? I know it's yours. Gavin Bayreuther was just suspended for 3 games for a bit of a dirty move.
Ooh.
He's going to miss both games in Coachella Valley, and that's not a bad thing when an incoming team fighting for points is missing one of their top 4 D men. So that's one thing to watch for with the Texas Stars here. Another thing that's interesting, we play them at home tonight, and we play them again on Saturday night. So you go, okay, well, 2 games, 4 days, no big deal. In between, on Friday night, the night before the Saturday game, Texas has to go to San Diego, and our guys have to ride a bus to Bakersfield.
Yeah.
So coming into the Saturday game, both teams, have bus there and back. Going to be very interesting to watch on Saturday to see who's got legs and who doesn't have legs.
Right.
And
Well,
as we begin to wrap up Firebird Talk, I want to mention that 6 of our last 9 games on the schedule this year are at home.
Ooh.
So we do have that push if we actually need it for both the division and the conference title. Cole Lind sits 3rd in the league in assists. Captain Max McCormick sits 5th in the league in goals.
Ooh.
And the Firebirds are not a dirty team, my friends. And how do I know that? Their number 1 penalty guy is rookie
21.
Their number 1 penalty guy is Jacob Melanson.
Oh.
He's only got 75 penalty minutes all year, and he's 44th in the league.
Huh.
wow. That's discipline.
We don't have any in the top 40 in penalty minutes.
That's discipline. And every single time we talk to Dan, I'm sorry to interrupt, and penalties come up, he's always not happy about that. You'll just see him dismiss it, even fighting. He's very interested in being aggressive and winning and dominating, but he doesn't necessarily, and he's not afraid. That team's not afraid of being physical.
No.
But they're more interested in playing hockey and disciplined and winning games by being faster, quicker, smarter than necessarily, beating somebody up. But they are a solid team all the way around.
In the first third of the season, McKinnon, I thought the leading penalty would be number 21, McKinnon. He's been our go-to, what do you call that? Enforcer.
Yeah.
For most of the beginning of the season. That's actually a really interesting stat. And I I didn't mean to shout out at you that it's 21, but that's wild.
I don't even know where McKinnon is. Of course, he's been scratched a lot as of late.
Yeah.
Hasn't seen a lot of ice time. Number 2 is, Hayden. John Hayden. And he's like 68th in the league, and then that's all we got in the top 100. McKinnon didn't even make the list.
That's crazy.
I like to hear that, and I'm all for that. And I think we should definitely compliment Dan on that maybe tonight during the press conference. It might be an interesting question to say, do you know? I know he does know, but it would be a good question, I think, for the fans to hear in that press conference. I'm challenging you, Charlie.
I got you. Hopefully we can figure out Facebook Live and it doesn't do that weird portrait versus landscape business.
Oh, yeah. Right. Well, really you can go to StreamYard. Use StreamYard.
Yeah.
It'll do it for you.
Okay.
Yeah. And then that way you can also post it to multiple places, and the people that are watching today can see the press conference tonight.
We have a game tonight, right?
Yes, we do.
There'll be a press conference tonight, right?
Yes, sir.
You're going to be there tonight, right, Craig?
No, Charlie's going to be there. That man down below.
Oh, what a great night to tell Dan, hey, we noticed, Melanson's number 44. Is this a style you deliberately teach?
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see and hear Dan's response to the physicality versus the skill side of the game.
Yeah,
And
just
we have a question from
that'd be
some
great.
people on.
Just tell them a fan wants to know. That's what I usually say. Hey, I heard fan asked me a question. Want to pose it to you? Dan's
I can
always
do that.
open to that, and it's a great question.
And this
Judd
fan,
will be very happy.
this fan raised 7 miles from Dan Bilesman's childhood home.
No kidding.
Hey, we're going to move into your peeve of the week, Ed. You're going to close us out in this last segment. If you guys have any comments, let us know. We really appreciate you
Michelle.
writing to us. Is that Michelle from Texas? How
Michelle,
exciting
who
is
lives
that?
in Texas.
That's so fun. All right, Ed, you're up. Give us your peeve of the week. Let it out. Let it out.
Okay, so I'm really concerned about the game tonight at Acrisure. And let me tell you why.
Oh, gosh.
I was at the professional bull riding event last Saturday night,
PBR.
and there's something really odd about walking into a hockey arena and having it smell more like the back 40 at home in Michigan than it did, an ice arena or a hockey event. But a bigger concern, and here's where this comes in. Any of you Firebird fans who see this, effective last Saturday, they are checking your parking passes as you attempt to enter the parking lot. If any of you went to the opening night of Acrisure with Dave Chappelle and the event started 2 hours late, you're going to experience major discomfort tonight. Have your ParkWiz app out, have your parking pass displayed, or be ready to fork over some cash and hold up the people behind you in line. I'm telling you, it's going to be a zoo. They were starting PBR on Saturday. We couldn't get. I was with the band that was there. We couldn't get our equipment out the gate because they were afraid to open the gates because the lines were so long. They thought if we opened the gate to leave, people would rush in. And
Well,
the
only thing I'd say about parking is the Burger Foundation actually, I think, gets the funds for the parking. So it is a charitable foundation doing lots of stuff in the community. But it's always a challenge, getting in and out of arenas that got 10,000 people in it. And we don't want to sit. We don't want to wait. We want to get in, get seated, relaxed. We don't want to have to rush. And so those things are also important. So far, I think the system's worked pretty good. I got one ticket. I think, Charlie, you got one ticket. That's not too bad for the fact I'd probably done 70 games. And those cameras have picked up my license plate every single time. Technology is pretty good. Hopefully it's not too bad tonight.
And they're forcing you to show your parking pass before you enter now. And the lines are going to be huge. As we all know, the population in Coachella Valley is a little on the elderly side. Can you imagine all these people my age pulling up, not knowing they have to have their ParkWiz app available or to show it, and then they've got to find it on their phone?
This is gonna be terrible.
I'm just warning you. I foresee many problems this evening. My peeve week is, couldn't the arena have found a way to let people know what was coming?
Clearly not.
Well, maybe it's best not to know what's coming sometimes.
Yeah.
Hey guys, happy spring. I've really had a great time with you. We started a little bit late, but I'm so glad that we got together. Charlie, I'm so glad to see you. We were concerned and worried about you, and here you are, live, breathing, just as vibrant as you always are. I appreciate you. Ed,
Love
you
you
always
guys.
do such a great job putting the show together. You have so much information. That age does come into advantage because of the way in which you share and articulate. And you have so much in that mind. I think this is a great forum for you to be able to share. Thank you again, Michelle, and everybody watching from todayscanada.com, todayscalifornia.com, Coachella Valley, YouTube, Twitter, around social media. We appreciate you. And if you're watching this not live, you can still put the comments in because we're checking them. Any questions that you have. And the thing I want to start doing, if you guys think about it, is let us know what your team is. Let us
Yeah.
know what your AHL or NHL team is, so we know where and who you're rooting for, and maybe we'll do an extra little digging for you on that particular team. So, hey, with that, guys.
Ooh! As I say goodbye, I'm gonna tell you who my favorite team is.
Okay.
Go Michigan Wolverines! And they play
Solid.
for the final of the Big Ten hockey championship, and that winner of that game gets into the Frozen Four hockey tournament. Go Blue!
Congratulations, Ed.
And all the Wolverines.
That's all I needed.
Take us out, Charlie.
All right, guys. Everybody well, I'm not going to steal Ed's, but have a nice day. Enjoy your vernal equinox. And yeah, see you later. See you next week.
All right. See you guys next week, 12 o'clock, right here.